Okay,
Hello.
we are live, I believe. Let's hope so. Welcome to TMF Week, Paul.
Welcome to TMF Week, Oliver. Very excited.
It is very exciting. 5 years in the making. This is our 5th TMF Week. Can you believe it?
Yeah. It's 5 weeks of presentations and panel discussions and 5 years of lots of work organizing it. So yeah, it's exciting.
It's definitely a big effort on everyone's part, but excited that we are here. I want to thank everybody for joining us early this morning. I know that there are a few folks that are likely joining us from the West Coast or other parts of the world that are either staying up very, very late or getting up very, very early to listen to us talk this morning. We've got an action-packed agenda. Paul and I will be kicking off TMF Week with a little bit of an opening ceremony, a little bit of a review of what we've looked at in the past, what we've done in the past, and then we'll also have a look at the agenda and some of the other big things that are happening at TMF Week this year. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. So let's jump into it. So we thought it would be fun to start our TMF Week 2024 with a little bit of a review, because this marks our 5-year anniversary, which I still can't believe. We started all those years ago when COVID first began, and we were all, sort of bound to our home offices, and all events were sort of cancelled. And we got together and thought, well, let's try and put something together for the industry. And 5 years later, here we are. We've had over 7,700 attendees and counting, because more and more begin to register throughout this week. We've had 145 or over 145 expert speakers from all types of organizations, locations, regions, levels of experience, which amounts to about 125 hours of content, which you can all go back and listen to if you want to. If you head to the Montrium YouTube channel, every single TMF Week session is available for free, as always, on our channel. And as you can see from some of the fun photos that we've put up here, we've had some fun along the way. We've had great panel discussions, some silly props and costumes. Always seems to be the same people, Paul, that bring the silly props and costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've even done spoof newscasts. If no one has seen our little TMF News Today series, again, head to the YouTube channel. Our very own Molly Thacker giving us TMF News. And we've done some funny promo videos here in the Montrium team, and obviously had some really, really great keynotes. Paul, I'm sure you've had fun over the last 5 years. Any highlights for you? Anything that you want to add here?
Well, I mean, number one, I think it's amazing that people still register for virtual conferences, because obviously we have gone back to in-person conferences, but this year I think we've got over 1,600 people registered, which is quite a big number, because I didn't think there were that many people in TMF, so that's pretty interesting. And I think that we have a great lineup this year as well in terms of speakers.
Yeah, we do have a fun
sessions. Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
So
yeah. I also want to just say thank you to number one to you, the community, for being a great bunch of people and participating in TMF Week. We're really humbled, I think, by the amount of interest and participation that we get from you. I think I'd also like to thank the speakers, because they're doing this in their own time, and they really work hard on the presentations and making sure that the content that they deliver is valuable and is educational. So thank you to all the speakers over the years that have really contributed to TMF Week. And then finally, I think, also the team behind TMF Week, they work really, really hard to put this together. And it's a lot of moving pieces that need to be managed and brought together. And then they also have their day jobs, right? So thank you to the TMF Week team as well for putting on such a great virtual event. And thank you, Oliver, of course, for co-hosting.
Oh, I'm in that team. I'm in that team. They say it takes a village to raise a child. And TMF Week is sort of like that, right? Like it's one of
Right.
those things where so
Right.
many people get involved, and special shout out to Kim, Molly, and Cam, as well as Allison and everyone on the sales team that every year dives in and gets stuck into making this event a reality. Whether it's helping people get into the event, whether it's hosting a session, whether it's preparing the agenda. There's just so much that goes into it. So I guess one last thanks is to you, Paul. Thanks for giving us the license to say, when we came to you 5 years ago and said we want to put on a virtual conference, and you said let's do it. Not many CEOs would give us that latitude. So I guess I'll throw a thank you back to you.
My pleasure. Well, let's maybe talk a little bit about what we're going to be hearing about this week. Looking at the agenda. So day one, obviously, we're at TMF Week. This is the opening ceremony, and then after our talk today, we're going to be hearing from Dawn Nickham and Sarah Hitchen. So they're going to be talking about what's going on in terms of global regulations and also standards. And I think this is a super interesting area. There's a lot happening right now with ICHE 6R3 and then the standardization of the reference model, digital data flow, all those things that are currently coming from the regulators or coming from the different standards bodies. Very, very exciting stuff, and really is going to enable us as an industry. So that's a session that I definitely will be attending today. After that, at 11 o'clock, we're going to hear from India on the evolution of TMFers and how we've changed the study team dynamic. And again, I think it's going to be a great session. And then finally, we're going to have a panel discussion that's led by Donna Dorozinski, Lessons from the Front Lines, Mastering Regulatory Inspections in 2024. So that's day one. So all of the times that you see there are Eastern times. So obviously, if you're not on Eastern time, you need to do a little bit of math to work out exactly what time it's going to be in your region, but I'm sure you're used to that. Oliver, what session are you interested in on day one?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good sessions throughout the week. It's tough to sort of pick your favorite, but today I'm definitely looking forward to the panel discussion that sort of closes the day out with Donna Dorozinski, the lessons from the front lines, all on inspections. Obviously, because I think inspections, the environment is changing more rapidly than it has done in the past, but also because I think that there are some speakers here that maybe the TMF community haven't heard from before. And I think that that's there's obviously a circuit of events that we all go to and attend and are a part of, where there's sort of a stream of regulatory experts and TMF experts that we always hear from. But I think that there's a couple folks here from the panel that maybe some individuals haven't heard from before. So I'm excited for that, in all honesty.
Fantastic. So Oliver, do you want to talk a little bit about day two?
Yeah, so let's look at day two. So of course, every day has 4 sessions with some networking breaks in between. You can obviously pick and choose the sessions that you want to attend. Day 2 starts off with a session on the EU CTR and its impact on the TMF from Carla, which I think is going to be a really, really, really great session. Then at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have the most fun panel I think you could think of, which is a Harry Potter themed TMF culture panel called The Goblet of Files, Mastering the Magic of TMF Culture. I think this is probably the session I'm looking most forward to. Then we have session 3 of the day, which is at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is setting the standard, initiating the ISF reference model revolution from Aaron Knight and Matt Lowry, who are obviously spearheading the ISF reference model initiative at the TMF reference model. And then we're going to close the day with a session from Jamie O'Keefe titled Defining TMF Processes and Quality Requirements Across the Sponsor and CRO Environment. So obviously something that, go into the agenda. You can actually bookmark the different sessions that you want to attend and like them, let's say, add them to your calendar. Paul, which one are you going to bookmark for day 2?
I'm all about ISF at the moment. This is really, I think, a super important initiative that has actually started within CDISC to try and come up with a reference model for the sites, because they're an important part of TMF, right? Getting the sites ISF right is very important. And also getting alignment between sites and sponsors. I think that we've got an opportunity here to really get good alignment and good integration between the sponsor TMF and the site TMF, which, as everyone knows, forms the complete TMF from the regulatory standpoint. So I'm very excited about that one, and there's a lot of excitement as well from the team that's been put in place to work on that. So a lot of volunteers from the clinical sites. And I think that they're going to be able to come up with something that's really, really solid. So I want to hear all about that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good session. I think we've heard a little bit of what's happening in that world from behind the scenes, but I think the community is definitely looking for more guidance there. So I'm definitely looking forward to that session. Let's take a bit of a break from the agenda, Paul. Let's talk about, on the subject of CDISC. If for those of you that have registered, maybe some of you registered for TMF Week, not just for the great sessions, education, and to see Paul and I's face. It was also to potentially win a free pass to the CDISC and TMF US Interchange, which will be held later on this year, October 23rd to the 24th in Phoenix, Arizona. We're giving away, in partnership with CDISC, who have been so generous in giving us one free pass to give away to a lucky registrant. Earlier on this morning, we spun the wheel and found a random winner who will win this $2,000 value free pass. Of course, this is just the free pass to the ticket, so you still got to find your own way there and get your hotel and all that kind of stuff, but a free pass nonetheless. And the winner of that free pass, drum roll, is Angela Taliha from Prothena Biosciences. So Angela, if you're on the line, reach out to someone from the Montrium team, and we will coordinate and connect you to CDISC for you to be able to receive your free pass. If anybody knows Angela and she's not here, just let her know, and she can always reach out and we'll give her access to the ticket.
I'm looking at the chat to see if Angela's
yeah, I'm looking here too. She's jumping with joy.
Congratulations, Angela, if you're online. It's going to be a really good conference as well. And it's in Scottsdale, which is a fabulous location, right? So.
Yeah, very, very cool. Looking forward to going. All right, so let's move on to day 3. So if we think about day 3's agenda, again, some really, really cool sessions. I'm biased here because I'm presenting also on day 3. But we're gonna kick off the day with a really, really great session called Small Pharma Big Impact: Implementing Essential TMF Practices. I think for teams and organizations that are on the line that are sort of taking their first steps in TMF and TMF maturity, this is going to be a really, really great session by Suzanne Turner. We then move on to a session at 10 a.m. Eastern, all focused on AI in TMF, specifically TMF migrations, titled Chat GPTMF, using AI to transform unstructured data in TMF migrations. At 11 a.m., as I mentioned, I will be chatting with Donatella Ballerini, who is my co-host, alongside Paul, for the State of TMF podcast that we run. We will be running our final podcast episode at TMF Week on day 3 at 11 a.m. And the title of that session is More Than an Archive, Moving to an Active TMF Management Model. We'll be talking all about the concept of agile TMF, which is something that Montrium is pioneering, as well as sort of how you're able to architect the journey from sort of an inactive or archivist model to an active TMF management model. And then we finished the day with a really great panel led by Dawn Nickham, all around metrics oversight and TMF health, called Monitoring Your TMF Vital Signs, TMF Health Oversight and Metrics, with a great cast of experienced TMFers from lots of different walks of life to help give some context there. My favorite session, it's probably going to be I can't say my session, right, Paul? I can't say my favorite session is the session.
Well, you could, but I think you might be a bit biased. I mean,
then I'll pick the panel, because
there's no prizes. There's no prizes.
There you go. What about you,
think
Paul? What are you looking most forward to?
it's a tough one. Like these are all really good sessions on this day. I think, because TMF Week is all about education and sharing knowledge within the community. So I think the first session at 9 o'clock is my favorite, because it really is targeting, those newcomers to the community, people that don't have that much experience and are looking for some knowledge and support from the community. And that's what that session is all about. It's giving that sort of first set of information that you need to get started. So yeah, definitely the 9 o'clock session.
Nice. Okay, perfect. So if you want to hang out with Paul on day 3, head to the 9 a.m. session, or head to all the sessions. Head to all the sessions. All right, what's next? Let's take a look. Networking breaks. Paul, do you want to sort of walk us through what's happening?
Yeah, so absolutely. So there's each day we've set up a networking area, and between sessions there are 15-minute networking breaks, right, Oliver?
Yeah.
I think it's 15 minutes, where you can go and hang out with other TMF Week delegates, and talk about whatever you want, basically. I mean, you can talk about the last session, you can talk about the weather if you want to, but it's a good place to go and meet your colleagues and mingle virtually and have a good time. There's a great bunch of people here who have all registered, so head to the lounge and meet up.
Amazing. Perfect. And that can be found, just as a reference, it can be found next to the agenda tab in the little menu above the screen here. So that's the lounge. There's a bunch of different tables. I would recommend heading to a table where there are other people. Or you could head to a table where there's no people if you just want to hang out. But regardless, I think these are really, really great opportunities to catch up with different people. I know last year I spent a lot of time in the lounges, and it was great to sort of catch up with different folks from different organizations to chat about TMF, or just to maybe carry on the discussion from the session that just finished. Just a really fun place to go. All right, perfect. So let's move on to day 4. Now, this is a really action-packed agenda. You can see here that there's quite a bit focused on risk-based TMF, which, Paul, as you know, very, very hot topic right now.
Right.
If we, and of course you're presenting at 9 a.m. on a risk-based TMF management process alongside Donatella. So this is going to be a sort of fundamental introduction for those of you that had a chance to read through the risk-based TMF white paper that Paul and Donatella authored. A lot of the concepts from that white paper will be explained in further detail, and of course you get the opportunity to join the conversation, ask questions. At 10 a.m. we have a session called Metrics That Matter from the Zen Core team, leveraging data and reporting to drive process improvement in TMF. Really, really interesting session here from different roles within an organization and how they're leveraging data to improve TMF processes. Then Paul will be leading a panel at 11 a.m. Eastern, the risks of not taking a risk-based approach to TMF management, again with some blockbuster panelists. And then we finish the day with a session on engaging non-TMFers called Avoiding Too Much Friction, strategies for engaging all TMF stakeholders, from Jared Bruslin and Brandon Winfield. Paul, what are you most looking forward to on day 4?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to pick my own session.
You can. I did.
No, because I actually think that there are other sessions here that are also very, very interesting. And I think I'm definitely going to go to the last session. So avoiding too much friction and getting people engaged, because I think TMF is about telling the story of the trial, but it's also about engaging with the study teams and making sure that we have everything that we need to be able to tell that story. And so for me, that's a fundamental aspect of TMF management. And so I want to sort of hear what these guys had to say in terms of what they're doing and how they're sort of reducing the friction of compiling the TMF with all the various different stakeholders. So that would be my pick for day 4.
And if anyone has ever sat in on a panel or a presentation from Jared Brislin, it's going to be fun. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be fun. He's an engaging speaker. I haven't seen Brandon before, but if he's anything like Jared, I think it's going to be a hoot. So make sure you attend that session. For me, it's a tough one. I want to say the risk-based TMF session at the beginning. I just think that there's so much to talk about here, and I think so many TMF teams have an ambition to jump into risk-based TMF, but perhaps don't understand how or how to build a roadmap to do so. And I think there's going to be a lot of that you'll discuss in that session. So I think that's probably my favorite session of day 4. Let's take another quick break from the agenda. I know that there are lots and lots of great sessions. One thing that we just opened up, we did this last year, the State of TMF survey. If you didn't get a chance to take a look at the survey results from last year, you can type the State of TMF survey and find that report. We will be running this survey every year, and this is obviously the second iteration. You could win a pair of custom iHeart TMF Converse, one of one. This isn't something that you can pick up at your local shoe store. This is something that we make custom for this, made to measure. So if you want to head to the State of TMF, so I'm maybe just put up a little link here for you guys, State of TMF survey, and I'll just copy the link. You can head there. It takes about 5 minutes for you to be able to fill out the survey, and you get a chance to win one of these iHeart TMF Converse. Plus, if you leave your email at the end, which you don't need to, if you leave your email at the end, you'll also be sent a copy of the report at the end of it. And I'll also post the link here in the chat so that people can head to it directly here. It takes a few minutes. They're all multiple choice questions. Yeah. Paul, anything to add there?
Yeah, I was just going to say we're also this year adding something new to the survey, which is a section on your job and sort of salary remuneration, which is not mandatory, of course, but it's just to sort of try and understand where we're at as an industry in terms of how much people are earning and their levels and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a really great point, Paul. If you're interested in understanding if you're fairly compensated against your peers, or if you want to understand what the next level in your career might garner you in terms of remuneration, if you want to understand if some TMFers get bonuses or stock options or whatever it might be, there's a handful of questions there that talk a little bit more about your role as a TMFer. Of course, all the data is anonymized. You can obviously get access to the anonymized data afterwards. We'll be publishing it later this year. So take a few minutes just to respond to the survey. It doesn't take that long. You could win a chance. You could be in a chance to win an iHeart TMF pair of Converse, but you, more importantly, are contributing to an industry initiative that I think will help everybody understand how to be better. All right, I'll leave the little ticker up so that you guys can still check out the survey if you need to. Let's move on to the next slide, which is our last day of the agenda. Paul, I'm going to hand it over to you here to walk us through our last day.
Sure. So day 5, again, 4 great sessions. First session is with Matthew and James from Housekeeping and just-in-time GCP, right?
Yeah.
And this is a risk-based approach to digital preservation and archiving of eTMF. I know a lot of people have questions on how do we manage archives? How do we sort of meet that 25-year requirement? So some pretty interesting information there. Next session at 10 a.m. From initiative to institution, the future of the TMF reference model under CDISC. So Karen Roy, I'm pretty sure all of you know Karen Roy, and myself are going to be giving you a bit of an insight in terms of where we're going with the TMF reference model now that we're part of CDISC. And then at 11 a.m., we're going to have Nizzy and Angel, who will be presenting A Quiet Place, Mitigating the Risk of eTMF Transfers and Migration. And then finally, for the last session of TMF Week at 12 o'clock, Jamie Toth is going to be doing something a little bit different, something a little bit fun. And I'm going to get Oliver to sort of talk about that in his next slide.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Great agenda for day 5. Obviously, ending the week in a blockbuster session. I think this is going to be super fun. Obviously, we wanted to do something a little bit fun. I reached out to Jamie. I said, "Hey, let's see if we can do a session that's a little bit different." After a couple bits of back and forth, we decided to settle on a game show. If anyone's seen the popular TV show The Chase, there are a bunch of experts essentially that you have to go up against and take down by answering some general knowledge questions. We are putting a TMF spin on that session. You get to pick who you want to go up against. You get to pick the category of questions that you want to answer in, and you could walk away with a $100 gift card or a gift card to a charity of your choice. We've got almost all of our contestants locked in. We've got 3 already confirmed. If anybody wants to join the game show and be a part of this session at 12 p.m. Eastern, you can go up to the message tab here and send me a direct message, ping me directly, or head to LinkedIn and message me, however you're connected with me. We would love to get a few more contestants to join this session. All of the questions are fairly easy, and it's more for a bit of fun than anything. So if you are interested in being a part of that session, head to the message tab and send me a message directly. That's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm hoping that everybody dresses up in these costumes. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I'm pretty sure at least 2 of those people will.
Yeah. If anybody knows these guys, they like to dress up in costumes for TMF events. Perfect. All right. So let's cap off this session. Just some housekeeping. We get asked this every session, every time. So we thought we'd put a little slide in here to remind everybody. All sessions will be recorded and they'll be available at the end of the day. You will be able to log back into the TMF Week platform and look through the agenda and view the recording. So if you need to step out, or if you have a conflict, a meeting, whatever it might be, you can always go back in and listen to the session afterwards. However, I would always recommend trying as best as possible to join the sessions live, because you get to interact directly with the speakers, and maybe it's more fun than a meeting that you have in your calendar. All attendees will receive a certificate of attendance for the entire TMF Week conference, not for each session. So you'll get one. We'll be sending those out a few weeks after the TMF Week event finishes. You'll get a certificate for attending the entire event. Doesn't matter how many sessions you attend. Questions will typically be answered at the end of the presentation, unless a speaker decides that they want to review mid-session. And then, of course, as Paul mentioned earlier, networking breaks will follow every presentation, and you need to visit the lounge for that. So that's where we're going to go right after this. Is we're going to head to the lounge and catch up with everyone. Last thing I'll mention is that at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have our first session of the day, which is TMF News Today, what's happening in global regulations and standards. In my opinion, this is a non-negotiable for everyone. I think this is something that you have to attend. Dawn and Sarah have worked tirelessly to make sure that we're talking about all of the different things that are happening from a regulatory and standard perspective in a fun newscast style presentation. That's happening at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you want to stay for the entirety of TMF Week, you can just simply keep the platform open and it will roll from one session to the next. So the main stage is where all sessions will happen. All you need to do is head to the live stage to watch those sessions. If you head to the lounge because you want to hang out, or if you go to the survey, whatever it might be, the stage will always be minimized in the right-hand corner until you remove it. So it's always going to be there so you don't miss a single minute of TMF Week. That brings us to the end of this session. I am so excited to kick this off. 5 years, thousands and thousands of you joining us online, which is just incredible. Paul, thanks so much again for joining me on this opening ceremony. Any passing last words?
Well, I just would like to wish everybody a fantastic TMF Week. It's going to be very interactive. There's lots of really good sessions, lots of really good information. So make the most of it, and enjoy.
Amazing. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. We will see you throughout TMF week. I'm going to be heading to the lounge now to catch up with everyone. I hope to see you guys there, and I'll see you at 10 a.m. for the first session.